Hey guys, welcome to a new video on cryptophonics. In this video, we will be discussing about the 7 mistakes that a trader makes in the stock market. We need to rectify these mistakes to make money in the market because all the mistakes, even a single one, will be costing us our money. It is the real money, it is a hard earned money that we are losing in the market. Therefore, to avoid such conditions, we should avoid these mistakes. The very first mistake that the traders make is the very first mistake. Entering a trade, entering a trade early or late. Okay. So the very first mistake that we'll be talking about is entering a trade early or late. Now, this right in front of us is the setup that I used in my previous video. If you haven't watched the strategy, go and watch it. A very good strategy for swing trading and for intraday purposes. Okay, now coming back to this video. Entering a trade early or late, what happens is, for example, if while moving through the charts, I am following this strategy. While moving through the charts, I encounter Ethereum at this point over here. The signal was formed over here. This is a sell signal. A sell signal was formed over here. And I encounter the chart at this point over here. My entry point is already delayed. I should have entered the trade over here. But if I enter over here, what will happen? I will not be able to make proper money. Why will I not be able to make proper money? Because if we see from this part to this part, Ethereum stays in a range bound. The movement of Ethereum was range bound. Therefore, it is very important to execute a trade at right time. Also, what happens is stock market is the jungle where the faster animal eats the slower one. Therefore, to make money in the market, we need to be the faster one. If you're not the faster one, you'll not be able to make money. Or even the vice versa situation. For example, if we enter early in a trade, that also can be very, very, very harmful for us. That can result in loss. If we look over here, this point right in front of us, imagine someone would have entered the trade at this point. Why? Because right over here, we can see that the after a buy signal, here's a junction is being formed to sell. A short signal is being generated here. But what happens is the sell signal is not really fruitful. It is not conducive at the moment. What happens is after a short signal over here is formed at this point, after a short signal is formed, immediately after that, the crossover is not formed properly and a buy signal is generated. A short crossover is not generated properly and a buy signal is generated. What happens if someone would have sold or created a short position over these levels, imagining or assuming that a sell signal will be generated after this point? Why? Because we can see that the gaps between the EMAs are decreasing. But what happens is just the opposite case. A sell signal is not finally formed, rather a buy signal was generated. But why we will not trading on this buy signal? I have already discussed that part in my previous video, so go and watch it. Why we will not be trading it? Because the RSI is not above the 70 mark. Now, the second mistake that the traders make. The second mistake that the traders make is that they do not follow the setup properly. do not follow the setup properly. What happens is every strategy or every trade that we create based on a strategy needs to be accurate. What happens is, for example, if we are following this strategy, the strategy is based on two major components, the first one being EMA crossover and the second one being the RSI level. For example, if someone looks on the RSI chart like this, the default settings, I have not used the default settings in my previous video for this setup. I have changed the default settings to a specific level that suits this trading style. Therefore, if someone uses the default settings rather than using the modified settings that should be used, what happens? The result is not in favor what we should be getting. For example, if someone watches the video that this point in front of us, EMA forming a buy crossover, and the RSI is above the 50 mark or something, they make assumptions on their own. They do not follow the strategy completely and clearly. This we can see there is a small up move, but not the kind of up move that the traders expect. If we trade on such basis, we will not be able to make proper money. Therefore, what we need to do is we need to follow the setup properly. We need to abide by it. That should be the constitution for us. Therefore, we need to follow it. Now, the third mistake that the traders do is that they stick with a trade after the SL is hit. Sticking with a trade after SL. Now, okay, many of the traders they stay optimistic about the trade after the SL is hit. But in stock market, you need to be realistic rather than being optimistic. We need to exit a trade after the stop loss is being hit. There's no point of staying in a trade after the SL is hit. The fourth one. The fourth mistake that the traders make is that they do not decide their position size properly. Position sizing is a very important thing to keep in mind. For example, if I take a trade where I trade with 100 of quantities, for example, uh, consider I bought 100 stocks of Apple and I sold them at a profit of 10%. Now, this 10% of profit increased or boosted my setup. It gave me the confidence that I can increase the positions. I can increase the quantity of stocks that I'm trading with. But rather than being going with the flow, what we need to do is we need to look everything, we need to plan everything according to the way that the markets expect us to do. We should not be trading on emotions. For example, if someone makes a profit with 100 quantities on first trade, you can't double your position for the next trade. If you take a loss of 5%, 7%, the entire profit that you booked in your previous trade will be wiped out. Therefore, do not do so. What we need to do is we need to increase our position, but after a cushion amount is being made. What's the cushion amount? The cushion amount is the amount which will help your account from being wiped out completely. That amount will be decided on the basis of your total entire amount that you keep in the account, your demat account. Therefore, I'll be making a further upcoming video on how to do these things. But for now, position sizing should be kept in mind. Do not double, triple your positions after each trade. Stay with these position size. The next one is wrong interpretation of the charts. it is very important to interpret a chart properly. You need to know what a buy signal is. When this EMA crossover is being generated, what does this means? When the RSI is above the 60 mark, above the 70 mark, what does that imply? You need to know that. If you do not know that, that's gonna work against you rather than working in favor of you. So therefore, the charts need to be interpreted properly. What does the candle's wig or the candle's tail and head implies? You need to know all these things before you run into a trade. The next mistake that the traders make is that they do not learn from the mistakes. They do not learn from the mistakes. It is very important to learn from the mistakes that we have made in our previous trades. Why are we booking loss in a certain trade? We need to do some research about the trade and see what went wrong. For example, if we take a trade, 1 out of 10 times your trade will go wrong. That's how the market works. But if your strategy do not has an accuracy of 90-85%, you need to look, you need to improvise, you need to learn, you need to do research why your strategy is not working out. You need to, there's a common saying that mistakes are the steps towards the success, are the pillars of success. But I think that mistakes will be the pillars of success only if they are rooted at the right place. If you do not root and learn from your mistakes, they're not going to be the pillars of your success. You'll not be succeeding. You'll not be learning anything. Therefore, learn from your mistakes. Find out why the trade went wrong, what happened. And the next one is that they do not have the proper knowledge. Not having proper knowledge. Whenever you are working on a setup, you are following a setup to do trading, you need to know the exact signals that the trading setup is providing to you. You need to know where you should be placing the stop loss, what should be the entry point for you, what should be the position size for you. You need to do all these things in your mind before you enter the trade. If you do not do so, you will be ending up in loss. That's for making money in the stock markets, you need to be professionals. Only the professionals make money here. This is not a game. You're not here to play. You're here to make money. You're here to earn money. And only professionals earns in the market. So try to be focused and develop yourself into a professional. Only after that you will be making in the market, making money in the market. So this is it for this video. Thank you and stay tuned with us for more such content.